Welcome to Detailing with Mark. Today I'm reviewing the Tesla Model Y. So as you guys know, I love to detail and clean cars, but I also love to drive cars. And few cars are as interesting or cool as this Tesla Model Y. To enter the car, use the app on your phone or the Tesla key card, which is all I have. Touch it here, and as you can see, it beeps, the mirror's open, tells you come on inside. Press here, pull here, and you're in. You can see here this car has the black and white interior package, which is super cool. Keeping it clean is another matter, but it looks amazing. I won't spend too much time here. You guys have all seen the Model Y. It's very minimalist, but I do want to point out a couple things that I find particularly nice. So one of my favorite features has got to be the high roof line. And of course, the fact that the roof is completely glass all the way back, which is just amazing. The pillars are thick. The rear visibility isn't really amazing, but look at that roof. I mean, that's just incredible. So, and you know, I'm 5'9". You could be 7'5" and comfortably fit in this car. The roof line is so high. There's no traditional roof here with an inch or two of steel or aluminum. It's just the glass, so it gives you incredible headroom. I mean, the greenhouse in this car is amazing. There's glass everywhere, so I absolutely love this thing. The interior is excellent. So this is a very nice interior. It is simple, it is tidy, it is clean. Which gets to later, one of the things I don't like as much is the fact that everything's on this touchscreen. So it's got its pros and it's got its cons. We'll talk more about that later, but there's a steering wheel. I've heard some negative comments like the steering wheel feels like it's from the Pep Boys part bin or something. I think it's a very nice steering wheel. I'm not sure what people are referring to there, but I've owned a lot of nice cars, and while, you know, my BMW has a nicer wheel, I feel like this one's pretty good. So I'm not sure what people are getting at there. Okay, well, this is an SUV, so let's talk back seats, because that is part of the reason you buy an SUV, is the back seats. Are they roomy? I have a 2-year-old. I need room for car seats and all the junk you can imagine. As you can see, the back seat is pretty roomy, so let's get in here. Now, a couple things. The legroom's fantastic. I'm 5'9". I have reasonably long legs, but look at the legroom here with the front seat adjusted where a normal person would sit. Amazing legroom here. Again, the headroom, absolutely fantastic with this glass roof. You could be a foot taller than me and have just no problems in here whatsoever. So one of the challenges with this car is it is deep but not wide. So when we have the car seat mounted here, if you try and sit on either side of it, it's very tight, tighter than any car I've had the seat in, even much smaller cars. You'll notice here, look at how wide the sills are here. So you've got the rear quarter panel, the door sill is just massive. This thing is like well over a foot in thickness, even down here. Super thick sills here. I think part of the reason is the safety and impact beams they place in here, but great for safety, not so great for rear seat room. So from my hand here all the way to here spans, I wouldn't say 2 feet, but at least 18 inches. That eats into the width of the back seat. So the back seat, while it's deep here and has great legroom, phenomenal legroom and phenomenal headroom, it's just really narrow. So it's going to be a squeeze for 3 adults back here with a car seat in the middle, especially a toddler seat, which are very big and very wide. The people on either side of the car seat, the other passengers, are going to be pretty squeezed. I had a really tough time sitting back here. I had to almost turn sideways. That's pretty annoying. So there's obviously ways around that. And when kids get older, they just have a booster seat. It's going to take up a lot less space, but it's a bit narrow back here. I was not expecting that. So let's take a look in the hatchback. This is one of the selling points, especially over the Model 3, is this very nice hatchback. So one thing I love is, as you can see, the hatchback opens way, way up. So I can walk under here. Again, I'm 5'9". I can walk under here, no problem at all, and won't hit my head, which is a problem I have in other SUVs. So really great hatchback here. Lots of storage, a pocket there, a pocket there, and best of all, we have this big storage boot underneath the floor panel. Lots of storage in there, really nice. And of course, no Tesla tour would be complete without looking under the front trunk. So obviously there's no engine up front in the Tesla. The frunk is here. Wonderful little storage cubby. It's great. It's just, this thing has so much storage all over the place. This is not a big vehicle by any means, but when you add up all the little secret storage compartments around the vehicle, it's really very practical to own. There's a lot of room to store things. So this has the base wheels, the 19-inch wheels with the higher profile tires. Great for ride quality. Something interesting, I don't think I've ever seen this on a Tesla, but plastic hubcaps. So this car has hubcaps, not regular rims, which is interesting. So there's obviously a rim inside here, probably a steel wheel just to save cost, but anyway, they look really good. And you know, even though this has the base wheels, this is a really attractive car. I mean, hubcaps or not, the wheels look nice, the car looks nice and futuristic. This is just a really well put together, very, very nice car. So I'm sure you've heard nightmares over the many, many years about Tesla fit and finish. Well, I'm here to tell you that this car is actually very well put together. I'm very impressed. The quality is very nice. There are some panel gap issues here, like you can see here as I run my hand down, there's a much bigger gap here than up here. So here it's flush, and then as this goes down, this panel, the trunk lid, is much higher than the quarter panel here. If we go over to the other side, what do we find? We find that's not the case. So up here, it's pretty flush. As we go down, it's still very, very flush. So there's panel gaps, but you know, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like this is a $150,000 car. This one runs about 55-ish. Another issue here, you can see, look at the driver's door. So there was a couple times I got out, I thought, oh my gosh, did I leave the door open? You can see here, the panel gap is flush here. As you go up, it's just kind of uneven. It sticks out a little bit from the passenger door. So again, not a huge deal. It's pretty subtle, but generally speaking, the quality is very, very, very good. Much better than Teslas I've driven in the past. So good job, Tesla. I think it's really impressive. All right, driving the Model Y. Overall, this car is an engineering marvel. I absolutely love it. It's built well, tight, solid. I love the low center of gravity. Overall, I really, really like it. Obviously, as you can hear, it's near silent. That's amazing. It's a very peaceful drive. As far as, you know, the comfort, the ride is actually quite firm. So this has the base wheels with the higher profile tires, and yet you still feel a lot of the bumps on the road. It's pretty firm. On the plus side, the steering, so let me just kind of move the wheel very, very little. The steering is unbelievably sensitive. The turn-in is instant, which is a problem in most cars, especially SUVs. Not this one. This car is so responsive. It's almost dangerous. You really have to get used to it. I think if people are going from a Toyota Sienna or something to one of these, they're gonna have to get used to that. So some things I don't like. I don't like that everything is on this touchscreen here. Everything is here. So last time I'm driving in the pouring rain, I go to the windshield wiper settings, and you have to turn it on and then select your speed. It's like, you know, when I'm driving down the freeway in the pouring rain and I can't see a thing, I don't want to be fiddling with the screen. I really, really don't. Everything you need to do pretty much is tied to the screen. I don't find this intuitive at all. I consider myself very tech savvy. There is a very steep learning curve to driving this car. When I got the car, the owner wasn't there to coach me on it or anything. It took me 5 to 10 minutes to even figure out how to take off and drive the thing. So even for the tech savvy out there, this car is very complicated, very, very steep learning curve. So just something to be aware of. I even find that the responsiveness to touching things just, it's not that great. Like sometimes you really have to be precise when you're touching it. It's not as precise as an iPhone or as an Android phone. It's just not. So that is kind of an annoyance, especially when you're driving. You need precision. You can't be having to poke around and hit the same thing 5 times. So it's good, but it's not great. So obviously one of the highlights of these cars is the power. So I would say this, the 0 to 60 times, so you always hear Tesla has instant torque. Well, the 0 to 60 from a stop is not instant. So this is rated at 4.8 seconds. It's very fast off the line, don't get me wrong, but there is a 1 or 2 second delay off the line, probably just because it's so heavy to get the mass moving. It takes a little time. I think where this car really shines is when it's moving, it's incredibly fast. So specifically 50 miles an hour to 70, 60 to 80, those are the ranges where this thing just flies. We're gonna do a 0 to 60 run. It says 4.8, according to Tesla. Magazines have it at 4.4. Here we go. Woohoo! Woo! All right, that's pretty quick. Honestly, that's pretty quick, but it's way quicker. So let me get some mid-range here. So watch the thing here. Watch the control screen. So we're at 55. So I'm gonna hit it from 55. So watch the screen there. From 55 to 70. Oh my God, it's just instant. Woo! It takes like 1.5, maybe 2 seconds. And you go from 55 to 70. That's where the power is. It's up high, or mid-range rather. It's incredible. Another thing you have with this car is the regenerative braking, which I really like. What it is when you lift your foot off the accelerator, there's a power inverter that actually will use the wheels to slow the car to a stop and create energy. So the regenerative braking takes a lot of getting used to, but it is one pedal driving, especially if you have the car in the hold mode. When you let off the accelerator, this thing drags itself to a stop. So I'm approaching a stoplight here. All you have to do is let off the accelerator and just boom, it just drags you to a stop really kind of abruptly. So honestly, one of the things I did not expect with this car was exactly that, is between the regenerative braking dragging you down so abruptly when you lift off the accelerator, and then if you're like me and you're punching it constantly, this car will make you nauseous. So after my first drive of it for about half an hour, I was so dizzy I had to lay down and close my eyes. Like, I was legitimately dizzy and lightheaded and felt like I was gonna faint. It's those massive surges of torque. You've got almost 400 foot-pounds of torque just hammering at 0 RPM into your torso, and you feel it. Honestly, you really do feel it. Between that and the regenerative braking, you're going fast and then you're stopping really fast, and my body's just not used to that. Honestly, I'm used to internal combustion cars, so it's different. It's very, very different. In my opinion, this car is too fast for the average person. They're just never going to use all this power. Never. It's too much. If I buy one of these, I would go with the rear-wheel drive model, not the all-wheel drive. That's plenty powerful, I think. It's not out yet, but I think it'll be plenty powerful. I'm in California. I don't need the all-wheel drive. I think the rear-wheel drive will be just fine. Funny enough, what I've discovered, so after the first road trip we took in this car, about 120 miles, as soon as we got home, my 2-year-old son threw up everywhere. So the nausea thing is real if you're getting on the accelerator often, and if you're using the regen, the full regen, it makes you nauseous. My son threw up violently. I felt extremely sick as well, not just dizzy, but nauseous. So what I ended up doing was putting the car in chill mode, which kind of dulls the acceleration a bit. In my opinion, chill mode is the perfect mode for hauling family around. It has plenty of power, absolutely plenty of power, and it doesn't give you quite the jarring sensation. So I'm taking a turn here. So into the turn, ooh, you can feel the low center of gravity is great, but it still has the I'm gonna tip over SUV feel to it. That's just, it's hard to engineer out physics, right? So it's great, but it still has that top heavy feel, even though the batteries are located in the floor. Having said that, this is a very crisp handling SUV. So here I am, when I move the wheel, like, look at that. I move the wheel an inch either way and the car just twitches everywhere. So the steering is very, very responsive. When you're in a turn, the car feels really planted. Yeah, it's got a little body roll, but it feels really, really planted. And another thing about Teslas and any electric car is with no motor, you really hear the sounds of the freeway a lot more. All the bumps on the road and so forth. You hear the tires kind of thwacking against them. In a gas car, the engine drowns out those things, so you don't really notice it as much. And now we're to another gripe of mine is the charging. So, oh boy, where to begin with the charging? So, first of all, the Tesla charger that comes with the car charges at a rate of 4 miles per hour, which is just ridiculously slow. So that's number one. Number two, when you go to use public chargers, those charge at a rate of about 8 minutes an hour. Again, useless, just way too slow. If you go to a supercharger, the supercharger is amazing. Super, super fast. It's 90 to 120 kilowatts. I charged this thing to 80% in 25 minutes, which was incredible. So the supercharger network works. However, that charge to get me to 80% cost me 24 bucks. So for a full charge, it's about $30 on the supercharger. That's getting into gas vehicle costs to recharge or refuel. I did not expect that. That is expensive. So if you can get free supercharging, man, go for it. You'll save yourself some money if you're going to use the supercharger network. If you don't plan to, you don't need it. You can get a 220 volt or 240 volt adapter for your home. That's the one that your dryer, your clothes dryer fits into. That costs extra money, but that is a must. The adapter that comes with it to charge at home is pretty useless in my opinion. So back to the range, here are the issues I have. So Tesla says you should only charge the car to 90%. This car has a range, supposedly, of 326. That means you should only charge to 291. Okay, fair enough. Tesla also says, don't let it get below 50 miles of charge. It could damage the battery, it could damage the charging port. Okay, so now you've got this very narrow range of more like 250 or less that you can actually drive the car, which is kind of frustrating, to be honest. So right there, you've just reduced your range because you can't charge it all the way and you can't let it get below 50. That's annoying. Even more annoying, this here is a bold-faced lie. 188 miles, not even close. So I've done many, many very careful tests of this thing. When it says 188 miles an hour, even if you're on the freeway in chill mode at a low speed, like 65, you will get closer to 100 miles of charge. I'm not joking. So whatever the car tells you, you're gonna get, bank on about half, maybe 60 or 70%. That is annoying as hell. So when you add it all up, you're not getting a ton of range on these things, and that just shocked me, honestly. I don't hear a lot of people griping about that, but that's crazy in my opinion. What if you get a lower model with a lower total range? You're not driving very far. I mean, that's for darn sure. There is one positive on the charging front. When you go to a supercharger or you plug in at home, it tells you you have X amount of time to get to this level of charge. The estimate's actually low, so I went to a supercharger. I charged the car from nothing to 80%. It told me it was gonna take approximately 45 minutes. I left after 20 minutes only, and I had 200, I think, and 52 miles. So the supercharger actually charges faster than it says it will. Your home charger also charges faster than it says it will. Mine says 4 miles an hour. I actually get about 6 miles an hour. So that's one good piece of news on the charging front. All in all, I really like this. It's an engineering marvel. Will I buy one? I don't know. I've got to think about it. There's a lot of drawbacks that I have to figure out if it suits my life or not, but it's an amazing vehicle. It's well put together. It's extremely impressive. It's unlike anything I've ever driven. So Tesla, amazing job. And the price point is really reasonable as well. So to be continued whether I actually buy one of these things, but I'm impressed for now. Maybe some of this stuff I just got to get used to. Maybe some of it Tesla will engineer out, but all in all, a very impressive car, and I'm glad I rented it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, I hope you'll like it and comment. Obviously, subscribe if you don't want to miss my future videos. And with that, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.